What's up everyone? Welcome to Chuck's Customs. I'm super excited to have you here today because not only are we starting a new show, but we're going to be kicking things off with one badass project. So, you can probably already tell what the project is going to be from the title, but before I waste any more of your time or mine, let me introduce you to Bessie. This is Bessie. So, what we have here is a 1978 GMC Sierra C15. I know what you're saying, Chuck, there's not even a front end on this thing. How the hell are we supposed to know what it looks like? I'll put a picture up right about now. Isn't she lovely? So, yeah, that's what this heaping pile looked like before. I bought it for $400, and yes, it did run and drive, surprisingly, I know. But it had a clapped out Chevy 305 in it, a turbo 350 transmission that overheated and just sometimes wanted to go into gear, sometimes it didn't. So I finally got sick and tired of it. I was just going to do an entire swap, like get a brand new 350 crate engine and a turbo 350, but I thought that's not my dream engine and transmission combo. It's my dream truck. I might as well make it my dream truck. So that brings me to the engine. Oh yes, you guessed it folks. What we have here is a second gen 12 valve Cummins. I say second gen because it came out of a post 1994 vehicle. It's got the P pump and it's got the rumored to be better turbo than the first gens. So this engine actually came out of a, I think 1996 Ford F700 moving truck, and the transmission also came out of that truck. The transmission is an Allison 545. It's not meant for a light duty truck at all. But you know what? We're going to make it work. But before we really get into that, we have to pay a little bit of attention to the truck first. So I've tried to do as much research as humanly possible on this swap before just diving right into it. And let's just say that a lot of people online are less than supportive of the swap because they all say, you can't put a 12 valve Cummins in a half-ton pickup truck. Well, they're pretty right. These trucks were never meant for that much weight. They were never meant to pull that much weight. They were basically just a light-duty utility vehicle. This is Chuck's Customs. That's not going to stop us from trying. So, without further ado, I'm going to start cleaning up this engine bay, and then once that's done, we can start boxing the frame. Let's get into it. That brake line is pretty rotted. That's mud. Just a big break of mud. So, we got it mostly cleaned up down there. Nice to work in. Just got to get that drive shaft out of there, but for now we got the brakes draining, got the reservoir opened up, and you can see it's mostly down from where it was, so that's good. But in the meantime, I'm extremely dirty, so I got to get cleaned up because I have some errands to go run. I'm going to let that do its thing, and then we'll be back in a little bit start working on that box in the frame. Alright everyone, I'm back. I did my errands. I got on a new shirt now. I got rid of the brake line that went all the way to the back. I got rid of the wire that goes to the taillights. So pretty much everything is out of the way so we can start boxing the frame. I just wanted to take a minute to kind of elaborate what I mean when I say I'm boxing the frame. Earlier when I said that it's a half-ton truck, what I meant was it's only capable of doing small loads. It's not really meant for high torque applications, and this engine unfortunately puts out a ton of torque. So when we're boxing the frame, we're taking that channel that looks like a C, which is the frame, and we're going to be adding something right here to stiffen it up. Otherwise, when you add a lot of torque to this, it wants to bend in certain places, and that will cause the whole frame to twist. But if you box it, it really stiffens the whole thing up a bit. So I'm going to show you real quick how I'm going to be doing that, and then we'll get on to doing the whole thing. Alright, so this is what we're working with. What I did is I took that flap wheel right there, and I cleaned up this little section of the frame right here, top and bottom. That way it gives us a nice surface to weld to. And then we're going to take this plate right in here, and that's going to sit in there nice and even, just like that. Okay, so I don't have it completely welded in place yet, but you can see just had to kind of trim this edge down a little bit because the frame is a little bit bent here. It's like that all over the place though. It's something I'm gonna have to deal with this whole entire process, but yes, that is perfect. While I'm welding it, I can push that little bit in. Yeah, and we're just going to weld right along this little lip, and right along this little lip too. And that's going to stiffen up the frame a ton. Ew! Okay. So before you go and judge my booger welds, one, I know they're disgusting. But also, just know, I'm working with a really crappy, outdated flux cord MIG welder. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. And also, it's been like 2 years or so since I've even touched a welder. So, I promise by the time I'm done with this frame, the welds ain't gonna look nothing like that. So, onward we go. I had to bust out the welding suit. Now, as fun as it is getting showered with molten metal, it gets kind of old, and it kind of hurts. I'm going to get back to welding now. Check out what we got so far. Got this whole side done all the way back to the front of the leaf spring. Same with this side, comes all the way up. I got the new motor mounts in place because I mean these were off and I had to put them back on in order to figure out where the boxing needs to stop so I can gain access to these bolts. I figured before I put them on I might as well put the new motor mounts on. And then I realized this cross member right here. So because this engine sits so high, it's such a tall engine, we want it to sit as low as possible in here in order so we can close the hood. Well, that cross member is going to be right in the way. You can see how much higher it is than this control arm. So we want to try to sit as close to this as possible, and this is in the way. So I'm going to have to remove this piece completely and then just fabricate a new one. I got some nice heavy duty Schedule 80 1.25" pipe that we're going to be making a new cross member with. It's going to sit nice and low. Alright everyone, we're going to be calling it here today. Got 60% of the frame boxed in, good and solid, all solid welded the whole way down from the motor mounts all the way down to the rear leaf spring. I was going to box this part up here, but I figured you're not going to be having any torque flex up here. All your torque is going to be converting through the motor mounts, the transmission crossmember, all the way to your axle. So up here is kind of unfazed by all of that. Maybe. I don't know. If I'm wrong, go ahead and give me a comment and I'll work on boxing this in too. Got the new crossmember in the front, welded up nice and good. My welds actually came out pretty clean compared to what they were before. So I'm happy with that. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it. I got to get this mess cleaned up. If you enjoyed the video or you found it helpful, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you know someone that might want or need to see it, go ahead and share it with them. If you want to let me know how ugly my welds are, or if you know of anything I might be forgetting or any tips that I might need to know, go ahead and let me know in the comments section down below. I really appreciate it. But also, if you want to see the next episode, go ahead and subscribe. I believe in the next one, we'll be focusing on getting the engine cleaned up, mating it with the transmission, and maybe even trying to put it in the truck and fabricate the motor mounts. So I really hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for watching.